Welcome. I'm Cherice Taylor. I host the Facebook page Time Matters. You can find it at How You Spend Your Time Matters. And today I am happy to welcome my guest, Kevin Henry. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me today.
Cherice, it's a real pleasure to be with you. Thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely. So currently you are the Executive Vice President and Chief Human Resources Officer of Extended Stay America. Your bio is filled with so many wonderful opportunities that you've been a part of throughout your whole career. Could you just tell us a little bit about your background, where you grew up, and how you came to be in your current position?
Sure. Well, I'm originally from New York. I was born in Queens and grew up in Long Island in a place called Westbury. I went to school in upstate New York at Cornell University, and then studied what's called industrial labor relations. When I graduated from Cornell, I've had the chance to live a few different places. I think I've relocated 10 or 11 times. I've lived on the East Coast. I've lived in the Midwest. I've lived in Texas. I lived in Louisville long enough to learn how to pronounce it. And I've been here in Charlotte, North Carolina, with my wife, Tina, and two sons, Tyler and Taylor, for almost 20 years.
Wow. So you almost sound like a military family. You've moved around so much. So people can relate to that. So can you talk about what you as a young boy dreamt about?
Sure. I was really fortunate. I had both parents in the home. I'm a middle child. I have two sisters. That's probably a whole nother podcast about being a middle child. But I was blessed in that I had good role models. Lots of uncles and aunts and play uncles and play aunts and godparents and people that really encouraged me and essentially said, I can be whatever I want to be. I can do whatever I want to do, which was really encouraging, but they also challenged me. And they said, you can only do these things and you can only achieve these things if you put in the work. And in my family, that work was around investing in education. That work was around being respectful to others. That work was around having a good ethic and keeping my promises and doing the things that I told people I was going to do, and really making sure that I had a strong personal brand in terms of what Kevin Henry represented to other people. And the wonderful thing about that is you can control a lot of that. I know everybody has different circumstances. And again, I was very blessed and very fortunate, and everybody won't have both parents in the home, or everybody won't have, the resources to invest in education and things like that. But the things that anybody can do is, again, we can be respectful, we can be civil, we can put in the work and demonstrate a strong work ethic. We can keep our commitments, and we can operate with integrity. Those are things that we control individually. And I was taught and reinforced, at an early age, and really, through my life, that these are the things that matter most, and ultimately will help you accomplish really anything that you want to accomplish.
I think the key that I took from that is the personal brand. And I don't think students hear that early enough to recognize that you represent yourself your community, and you're in control of how you present all of that on a consistent basis. So I appreciate you saying that, because I think if nothing else, that's really, really important. Um, so when you, from your background, what made you go into the hospitality field? You know, what was there a drive to do that, or did you just come across it through your experiences in college, or you knew before that?
No, that's a, excuse me, that's a terrific question. And just to give some context, you know, I've worked in financial services, I've worked in retail, I've worked in what's called consumer packaged goods. I've worked in manufacturing, and then, as you've pointed out, my current assignment with Extended Stay America Hotels is in hospitality. And I've been with Extended Stay America for about 6 years in this role. I love hospitality. I love it because it really gives us the opportunity to be of service to other people and be good servant leaders. Just by the nature of what we do is we accommodate and we serve people who are away from home, staying in one of our hotels and one of our properties. And I also love hospitality because from an employee perspective, there's really no barrier to entry. And we've got countless examples of people who started with us as housekeepers or guest service representatives, you know, who are now executives in the corporation. I also love hospitality because it's the first industry I've worked in, and this is the first company that I've worked for. And I've, again, been fortunate. I've worked for some great companies where there are more women than men, and there are more persons of color than people not of color. And so it's a very diverse industry. And given my role in human resources, I have a direct influence and a direct impact on how we promote people, who we hire, what we pay people, how people can career path. And, you know, there's a lot of intrinsic satisfaction that I get in seeing an organization and seeing an employee base that's as diverse as ours, you know, really progress and really be able to advance themselves and ultimately put our associates or our employees in a position where they can take better care of themselves and they can take better care of their families. And, you know, that's been really, really rewarding. And I think a lot of that is unique to the hospitality industry.
That's great to hear, and to know that the entry into that field is not limited by how many degrees you have, and that there's an opportunity for that path. A lot of what I do is talking to my own kids and other people about life after high school. What do you want to do? And so it's helping students find that career path. And you mentioned different industries that you were a part of that led you to this. So it shows that it doesn't have to be a direct line from high school to a specific industry, and that the flexibility that you talked about is important, and you never know where you're going to end up based on other experiences that you've had.
Absolutely. Well said.
Thank you. So you are also very active on different boards. And so you have a lot of things that you participate in through your work and outside of work. So what is your why for what you do personally? Because you don't have to. You could just go to work and do what you do and come home and do that. But you choose to participate and be a part of a lot of community organizations.
Well, I thank you for the question, Cherice. And you know, first and foremost, you know, my own value and belief set is rooted in my faith, and part of my faith says that to he or she to whom much is given, much is expected and required, and that we should all be good stewards of whatever it is we've been put in charge of, and ultimately God honors those who honor him. And so that's my primary driver, which is I've been abundantly blessed in more ways than I could have ever imagined. And it's important to use your blessings to bless other people. The other why is, I mentioned earlier, my wife Tina and I have two sons, Tyler and Taylor. Tyler's 23 and Taylor's 19. And it's always been very important to both Tina and I that we demonstrate through our own behaviors and actions the behaviors that we want them to emulate. And it's not just what we say, and it's not just what we do, it's what they actually see us do. And so we've always tried to role model for them and really for other young people that, we're all going to be dependent upon at some point in the future to be making good decisions and leading well and, ensuring that our society is the way that we would all want and hope and expect it to be.
Great. We do talk about, especially as adults, modeling the behavior that we want our students and our children to, positive behavior to learn from. And my dad actually has a poem that he wrote that he says, more is caught than taught. And so that resonates with me when I think about the things that I do as well. How do you define success?
That's another terrific question. Personally, it's, I define it as the word that comes to mind is peace, and inner peace. And that may sound strange because it doesn't really have anything to do with materiality. It doesn't really have anything to do with accumulation of things. It doesn't have anything to do with prestige or positioning. It has to do with peace and calmness and acceptance of one's circumstance, and peace and peace of mind, knowing that you've done the best you can with what you have had to work with. It's not, counting wins or losses. As they say, it's how you play the game. And, knowing you've played to the best of your ability at all times. And, I think often about the notion of a life well lived. And again, it's doing the best you can with the unique gifts and talents that the good Lord has bestowed upon you. And not keeping score and, not worrying about other people, just worried about trying to be a good and faithful servant, and ultimately reflecting on your life and feeling as though you've done well and you've lived your life well.
Wonderful. Thank you. So I talk a lot about time and what you do with your time and how that matters. And do you have any pearls of wisdom for students regarding making the most use of their time? We have a lot of kids that are doing virtual learning. And, our middle high school kids probably have a little more time on their hands because they may not be able to do those extracurriculars right now. So do you have any pearls of wisdom for them?
Yeah, I would say make the best use you can of your time, first and foremost. I'd encourage, everyone to invest in themselves physically and emotionally, in addition to, the things that are a little bit more structured around school and classes and coursework. Do some exercise every day. I try to do that. And it could just be stretching, it could just be a couple of jumping jacks. It could be just, walking around your room. Doesn't have to be extreme, but do something. It gets your juices going, it gets your blood moving, and start your day that way. I'd also encourage the students, take your wins as you can get them, and in some cases, manufacture your own wins. And this is going to maybe sound a little strange, and mom and dad will appreciate this. Make your bed every morning when you wake up. And I say that because it's about making your bed, but it's really about accomplishing something first thing, and being able to do that and then look over at your bed and say, I actually accomplished something. And then, I mean, there's no better feeling later on in the evening than going back into your room before you go to sleep and being able to pull back the covers on a made bed. And so get some exercise, make your bed, make sure you plan for you to be able to nourish yourself, and hopefully, eat something that's more like fuel than anything else. Eat your fruits, eat your vegetables, drink water, all the things your parents tell you to do. And then also make time, for your friends and for some interaction. I know it's tough right now because we can't get together physically the way we all want to, but pick up the phone, send somebody a text message, send them a snap, do something, but have some interaction. You don't want to be isolated if you can help it. And then last thing, again, keep your promises to your teachers, to your parents. Make sure you do your assignments. Don't wait until the last minute, for things to pile up. And keep a list and keep a calendar. Personally, I find that helps me stay organized.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Thank you so much. We've covered a lot. Is there anything else that we didn't cover that you would like to add to our discussion?
I would just say, in closing, again, Cherice, thank you so much for the invitation. I'm humbled and really appreciative of having the opportunity to speak with you and share some thoughts. I'd also just say to, in particular, all the students, I know it's tough. It's frustrating. We're all fatigued. What I would tell you, though, as somebody who's a little older and has been around a little longer, this is a moment in time. And, we'll look up, hopefully, prayerfully, in 6 months or 8 months, whatever it is, and look back and only have recollections of the last 10 or 12 months. But we have to do what we're supposed to be doing. We have to be vigilant. Again, we have to be respectful. We have to be on point, and we have to be compliant, with the things that we're being asked to do. It's a moment in time. Your best is in front of you. I'm super proud of all of you, and can't wait to hear the wonderful stories and circumstances and experiences as each of you walk into your potential and realize all of the goodness and awesomeness that's in front of each of you in your lives. And super proud of you. Keep up the good work. Respect your parents and make your bed every day.
I love it. Thank you so much. I always end my conversations with, remember, how you spend your time matters. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today.
Thank you.